Welcome. I'm Janel, a career mindset coach and actor.
And I'm Amanda Dubois, a self-authenticity and prosperity life coach and actor as well. And we're your co-host of Mindset Artistry YouTube channel,
where we teach you the art of discovering and using your mindset
to build a career and life you desire.
If you're just joining, we're going to talk about and dive into the concept of making judgment and the downfall of it, and how it really can deter, cause pain and suffering unbeknownst to ourselves, and also stop us from making progress in our lives. And so I want you to think, I had pinned a question here, like, what is a judgment, a thought that you may say to yourself, and you can ponder over on this as we have our live, and then drop it in the comments. But what is a judgment that you, unbeknownst to you, you constantly say to yourself or to others that may actually cause some bad effects or some side effects that aren't serving your well-being or serving your goals or life and your desires? So just think about that, because it may not be noticeable in the moment, but there may be one or two things you constantly say, like, I don't know, I'm not worthy, or like, I'm a failure. That's a judgment. That is a judgment that becomes your fact, right? And this is what I want to talk about, is that the judgments you make start to become facts that you live by. So be wary about how and what you're saying, because they become perceptions that you start living by. So Nelly, I'm going to pass it on to you. What is like a judgment, or what do you think about when you think of like judgment, whether it's to yourself or to others?
Oh, girl, I have feelings about this, because I always say hashtag no judgment. I think the first thing that's really important to me is just let's all accept that we judge. Saying don't judge is foolish, because guess what? You're going to judge people for the rest of your life. You're going to judge yourself. So it's just your ego coming up. It's fear coming up. That's all judgment is. It's really actually closely linked to jealousy too. It's just indicating that there's something that you're seeing in other people or within yourself that you feel bad about. So I now use it as a tool. So if you catch yourself judging yourself or someone else, just get curious. Be like, I see that. What is that? And I don't know, kind of a fun example is like, say you see someone dancing. This is not how I would judge, but like, I don't know. Sometimes people dancing, living their best life, maybe doing weird dance moves, acting a fool. Some people might judge them. Really what's happening there is you feel limited physically. Like you feel like you can't express yourself to the max, because if you really were all about yourself and felt free in who you are, there's no reason you would judge that person. You'd be like, go ahead and be your best self. So I just want everybody, just stop. If you just keep shaming yourself for judging, and you're like, don't judge, or you just keep judging the people, like Amanda is going to talk about in this live, you're just going to hold yourself back. And it also shows you how to set boundaries. So, Amanda knows I can get real upset because I'll be kind to people, and sometimes they're just like rude or just making things weird. But instead of getting hung up on that, and so you could say there's a little judgment there, I'll just be like, okay, well, I don't want these people in my life. So it shows me the boundaries I need, my wants, my needs, and what I need to work on in myself. And so that is how I feel about judgment.
That is how she feels about judgment, everyone. Yes, it's true. The judgment, when you make judgment or you're looking at someone, it does stem from a deeper emotion, a deeper pain, a deeper struggle. These are things such as jealousy, because maybe growing up you didn't have as much as other people did, and you were judged on that. So you were judged on the fact that you didn't have the latest clothes, or your hair was a bit more curlier than somebody else who had longer, straighter hair, right? Those are judgments that have been cast when you were younger. So therefore, in order for you to survive, you started casting judgment on other people to make yourself feel good. That comes from insecurity. That's a version of where judgment comes from. So judgment doesn't just come from like, oh, I think I'm better than her or him. It comes from a deeper rooted pain point, a struggle that you, or like a suffering that you have suffered through and now live by. Because at the end of the day, we choose how we're suffering. We choose how we're going to live through life and what we're going to constantly think about. And I love this concept. I was listening to an inspirational speech, and how what we think about takes real estate in our mind. And I love that concept of like, oh my gosh, I always say it takes up space, but it takes up real estate, because you know what? Just like any house, what happens? You take some real estate, that one thought becomes a house and it stays there. And whether the grass is being tended to or not, the weeds, all those things, it takes up real estate. And then another house builds next to it. So is that fear? And then anxiety moves right in next door, honey. And so now it's not allowing space for joy, for abundance, for opportunities to come your way, because you're blocking your neighborhood or your world or your reality. And so you have to be conscientious about these judgments and these things that you're saying out loud, especially to yourself, and especially during times of challenging moments, of that pain and suffering. Because when we start judging ourselves in those moments of pain and suffering, you're not allowing yourself to excel in those moments. You're not allowing yourself to see the lessons. You're not allowing yourself to see the possible solutions within that problem or that challenge, because there may be something that you're not quite seeing, like, oh, okay, I got let go of my job. Well, this is an opportunity for you to start a project that you've been dreaming about. You've been dreaming about for the longest time, but you complained, I didn't have enough time. I'm so tired. I'm going from work to home. I just want to go home and eat and like watch some TV and go to sleep. Well, guess what? Now you have the time to actually pursue that and find another job that may be part-time, that will still allow for that goal or that entrepreneurship that you've been dreaming about doing. And now, guess what? There's no excuse. The only person that's stopping you is you, because you're going to end up living in, oh, I got fired. Oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever. This is terrible. What am I going to do? And you're panic, right? This judgment starts to become a panic moment. You start living in that panic. You start developing these anxiety. You start developing these damaging emotions and behaviors that don't allow growth, that don't allow you to process what's happening, right? And then these become blocks. This is one of the ways that blocks develop in our lives, not just of our childhood, but we do it to ourselves. And sometimes it's the hardest thing to admit that we are responsible for a lot of the pain and suffering. It's the hardest thing. Can I get some hearts if someone agrees? If it's hitting if it's hitting somewhere, I want to know that you're all still with me on this. Hello, everybody. Hello. Nelly, you raise your hand like a student. Like, yes, I've got something. I love it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and a perfect example is 3 weeks ago, my back went out. And there's going to be a little space for you being pissed about a situation. But then, like Amanda said, you can't stay there for too long. You can't let that real estate like just keep building in your head, because there's no time for it. And just like wasting your time judging other people, like I just said, okay, you find yourself judging someone else. You need to come back to you and be like, what is that saying about something in here that I need to heal? You don't have time to stay in the external. You need to keep coming back to yourself and figuring it out. So I was shaming myself and judging myself. Oh, I could have caught this back issue. Oh, why did I push it? And all these things. But then I had to stop and ask myself, so what happened? Why are you here? What do you need to change, Janelle? And so for me, it's been really, okay, health over money. But why do I get so worried about money? Because of how I grew up. So I have some things I have to work on around scarcity mindset around money. And the weird thing is, I don't really have money issues now. And that's really something to pay attention to, because you can still have physical evidence constantly in your face showing you you're safe and that it's not the same situation. But that old story will creep up until you heal it. And so I'm excited because we're going to be interviewing Amanda's Alexander Technique teacher. And something she said to us the other day, we'll talk more about it when we interview her, is you can't be bothered by something that's not inside you anymore. So if it's not a belief you have or judgment for yourself anymore, once you heal that, it's not going to keep happening. So I just want to encourage everybody watching, like, really pay attention, because if you don't deal with it and deal with it in yourself and take responsibility, like Amanda is saying, it's just going to keep revisiting you in other ways, and it'll manifest in different ways. One day it'll be like this person saying something. One day it'll be this other situation about a job. And so use judgment as a tool and stop making it about other people, because it's not. It's about you.
Mic drop on that one. It's always about you. You know, and I know it sounds like a selfish, egotistical kind of mindset to say, but it's the truth. It is about you, because at the end of the day, your inner work is going to define your outer life, right? It is like a magnet. So what you feel inside is going to be exuded out like anything else, right? And so if you're constantly making judgment, also, who wants to be around somebody who's constantly judging people and constantly judging the situation? I'm sorry, I don't want to be around someone like that. So if you think of it that way, you know, imagine yourself constantly judging. Would you even want to be around you? That's not someone that is your higher version, the version that you actually want to be, that's successful, that is abundant, or in the way that you envisioned your life. Does that version want to be around the version you are now? Absolutely not. They don't, because it doesn't get you to the next level. And understanding that, you know, these judgments or your pain and suffering is actually fuel for your success. It is your story that is meant to be shared as you're going through it, because there is always some struggle, some challenges happening every single day. And the best thing that we can do is to take care of our inner work, take care of our real estate in our mind, to take care of our perceptions of the world, to take care of our dialogue and the things that we become facts, right? That become our statements. Like Nell said, is, you know, you can find anything in the world to support your mind. Anything, any thought that you have, you can find support to back it up. But what are you allowing to be supported and backed up by the world? Because here's the truth. Like, so for example, you know, we have moments of challenging moments, but you've also had challenging moments in the past, and yet you're still here. You survived, right? That is actually proving that you can do it. You can overcome anything. So why not live in that concept and going, oh, well, I've overcome this challenge before. I've overcome something that's probably even worse. And yet I'm harping on something now and saying, oh, I can't. But you've done it already. There's evidence. There has been evidence in the past. So think of it that way, than thinking, oh my gosh, here we go again. Oh my gosh, I got to judge. Here I go with the failure and the mishaps. That is judgment. That is ridiculing yourself. That is stepping on you and your possibilities rather than building yourself up. Right? We are responsible. We are responsible for our internal dialogue. We are responsible for how our life is shaped. Because then once you, like Nell talked about boundaries, once you're aware of these judgments and you decide, well, no, I don't want to be thinking that way. I don't want to judge other people in that way. And also there's also a sense of empathy and humanity. That's a whole other thing. Okay. You start to realize that, oh no, I want to set a boundary with that type of thought. I don't want to feel that way, right? and if you don't want to feel that way, what are you going to do? You're going to look for a solution to solve that problem, because you're choosing not to feel that way or think that way. So a solution is going to come up, and it may be small. You can do the smallest thing of saying, you know, instead of thinking of a negative thing, think of a more positive, flip it. It's all about perception, reassociating, rewiring the mind, the brain. We can do that. You can train an old dog new tricks, honey. That whole concept about you can't train an old dog. No, honey, you can. You totally can. So think of it that way. We're constantly building. We're constantly in a state of growth. It's all about how you're perceiving it. It's all about where your judgment is going, because at the end of the day, once again, we are in charge of our reality. Again, don't get me wrong. Things happen. The world is chaotic. There are things that we cannot control. You cannot control traffic every day. You cannot control the train being late. You cannot control someone being an asshole to you. That is their prerogative, but it's not yours. You can choose to not be in that state of mind. You can choose to not choose judgment, going, oh, wow, oh my gosh, it was so evil, it was so cruel, blah, blah. First of all, you're attracting more judgment to yourself, because then you're going to start questioning, well, did I deserve that? Did I bring that on? And all these concepts will develop into resistance to creating or welcoming or allowing abundance and joy and opportunity in your life, growth. Right now, you have anything to add on to that?
Yes, and it causes a very intense divisive world as well. I definitely believe in boundaries, knowing who you are and what you want. But I'm a huge advocate for empathy and trying to understand other people and where they're coming from. And you have to find the balance. Because everybody gets stuck in this judgment thing, and then they block out the why, and they block out coming together to make change, because you have to know what your side of the street is and be strong in that and believe in that. And then you won't have fear talking to other people. That, and also the only way you can really make change is showing other perspectives. I would butcher the quote, but Mark Twain has a quote basically about traveling is the best antidote to all prejudice. Because it's true. I grew up in a small town, and there were issues that weren't issues there. And so you had one way of thinking. Then I moved to New York City, and you're around basically everybody from around the world. You start learning other perspectives. And so sometimes people will judge because like, I don't get how people can think like that. And it's like, well, look at their surroundings. And if you really want change, and I believe if you really want change, and this is what my mother taught me, you can sit across the table from people you don't agree with, and you can try to come together. And it doesn't make their actions okay, but it's just the way it works, you know? So I was watching Amanda knows I love documentaries about Jane and all her chimpanzees. Yep. Do you know? Yeah. And it was really lovely. And people judged her for getting in the room and teaming up with people that seemed absurd. But she said, well, they're going to do certain things anyway. So if I can kind of work with them and show them the other side of things, maybe it will, there'll be more balance. And so, you know, hey, Josh, amen. Oh my gosh, Josh and I go way back.
Wow.
First year college. Yeah. And so judgment is, it's such a broad topic, but I just love how we always talk about taking responsibility for yourself, and just knowing that it's just the feelings within yourself, because you can't change other people. People have to want to change. Amanda's always saying that. And so you can be an example and shift your inner world, and that will shift your outer world. And we're all humans, so we're trying. We're trying. Is yelling at people or judging people is not going to change people. It's just not, because then everybody puts their defense up. And I'm a fighter, so trust me, it's hard for me. Not like picking fights, but I'm the first one to be like, ah, like gladiator, you know, but then people don't hear you. So I think we've covered a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love, like, especially, here's what I love what Janelle just kind of dropped, is that when you're in a state of judgment, when you're in a state of just constantly ridiculing or belittling other people, including yourself, no one can hear you. No one can truly hear you, because they're going to be ignoring. Even if you have something really good to say, even if you have something really good and beneficial for yourself or for someone else, because you're trying to genuinely help them, they're not going to hear you, because you're not coming from an empathetic state of mind. You're coming from a judgment state of mind. So there's no relatability. There's no, there's no sense of openness and creating an open dialogue and understanding. At the end of the day, we're all trying to live our lives. We're all trying to be abundant in the ways that we find successful, right? You know, we have all these concepts and perceptions in the world about what life should look like. But what we really should be paying attention to is what we want, right? And what we desire and what we deserve, right? And that, you know, is it me, myself, and I, and that inner work. Because once you know that, then again, like Nell said earlier, you're not going to be paying attention to what other people are doing or not doing. You don't have the time, you don't have the energy, and you're going to realize, I don't want that energy. You don't want to live in that energy, because it's damaging to your well-being, it's damaging to your state of mind, it's damaging to your life. So if you're constantly out there going, oh my gosh, I can't stand how the way she dresses, or I can't stand the way she talks, or I can't stand this, or he or her or them, whatever it is that they're doing, then clearly you're not focusing on yourself. Clearly you're not taking the time to go, okay, what do I need to do, or what to do? What am I not doing? Or what actions can I take? What are my passions? What is the why? Why am I here? That's what we should be asking. I've been asking myself that constantly recently. It's like, why the hell am I here? Because clearly I'm here for a reason, because I'm still alive. You're still alive. So that means the reason why you're here hasn't been fulfilled. So what is the why? What is your bigger purpose? And I love that question, because it also takes you also out of yourself. Like, how are you serving the bigger picture, the bigger your world around you? Because again, you know, we talked about it's about you, but also it's about you and what you're giving to the world, that broader perspective of sharing, that bigger impact. Because believe it or not, as small as you may think you are, you're impactful to someone else. One little action, one little thing that you can possibly change can create a ripple effect that can inspire someone else to do the same. And then there's like a domino effect. It falls, and the next person, and the next person, and the next person. And then they'll realize, like, oh my gosh, the world could be so much greater. The world could be so much greater, right? All this competition, all this hatred, all this, it is, to me, it's not serving the world. It's not serving all the beauty that we have in this space. So with that, judgment, impact and the downfall of it is that you are only going to dig yourself in deeper holes. You're only going to block yourself from the abundance. You're only going to continue to judge yourself and others, and also create competition. And it's not a wrong competition, but a competitive state of mind where you're going to constantly push people down instead of picking people up and supporting people, teaching other people the things that you're learning, the lessons, right? All of that. Again, when you're caring for yourself, you have the ability to see other people as they truly are, and also embrace that and encourage other people to be who they truly are and live in the light. And no matter, you know, we all have darkness, we all have shadows, we all have painful suffering and all these things. We all have it. It's the reality of the world. But it's how you choose to live with it or move on with it is the bigger goal, is the bigger gift that you have to share with the world. Nelly, you have something to say. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, and what I've learned, the biggest lesson this past year is just deflecting to others or paying attention to the external. It's just never going to ever solve the internal. And all of these great thinkers that, you know, I follow, and all these people that motivational speakers and be athletes, actors, whatever. You know, Bradley Cooper says, every day I'm just competing against myself and just trying to get a little bit better. Kevin Hart says that. You know, Kobe Bryant. All these people that we look up to say the same thing over and over again. They're just focused on themselves and making themselves better. And so, and you can look out there and just people don't realize that. Yeah, when you're judging, you're really just trying to solve your own pain. And it's just not going to work. You judging other people is not solving anything. So I just really want to encourage everybody watching to just try to go inward and do the work. And the next time you find yourself judging something, yourself or others, stop yourself and ask, what is this really about? What is this really about? Because you could be judging someone's career, like, oh, of course they had it easy or something, or somebody helped them or whatever. That's just showing you that you're not happy with your own career. Cool. So get to work on your own career. Where I said earlier, you're judging somebody's dance moves. I don't know. Like, but I mean in the way of like them living their best life, judging someone's happiness. Yeah. So you're not happy. So go find your happiness. Leave them alone. And for me, I judge myself a lot when I'm auditioning. And let me tell you, does not help. I shut down. We completely lose the life. And it's not good. So that's all I have to say. And we love all of you. And it's not easy. It's just an awareness and a new thing you have to build. And it all depends on your programming and how you grew up. So I was always taught like external love, and that's where you find it, and that's where the help is. But
absolutely.
It really
Thank you, Nell. And at the end of the day, we have to choose the type of struggle or hardship that we want. So if you're choosing to live in the pain and suffering, that's a choice. And that's what you want to do. That's totally fine. So at the end of the day, we have the control, and all of it we can change. We can change anything that we desire to. Anything. Believe that. Have that faith and belief in yourself that anything can change. You have the willpower, you have the passion, everything you need is within you, as my dogs are barking. All right. Well, we're going to go. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
What are your thoughts about this episode?
Drop it in the comments and let us know what you want to dive into next.
Subscribe, like, share, and click the link below to book a free consultation. And
we'll see you next time.